Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to, I guess we'll figure out the name of it later, podcast. Going through a little bit of a rebranding after a good 4, 5, 6 month hiatus. I guess the Eagles did terrible at the end of the season. We just gave up on them like they gave up in the season. But David Siegfried, back at you again, still living in Tallahassee, Florida.
Christian, back at you. Elkton, Maryland. You know how we do this.
This is Dylan, back at you from Des Moines, Iowa. Let's go, baby.
Nick, back at you in Jacksonville. Hey, gonna get on here as much as I can, but let's get it, guys.
All right. Well, I guess the rebrand that we're wanting to do, I feel like we're going to try to focus more on Philadelphia sports. I think that's what we decided on, right? Not going to do the overall. Yeah. I mean,
I feel like three of us got the memo. One of us just decided to go as bland as possible with the plain black tee.
This is weird though, because like Christian is always in some sort of like jersey when we do this. So it's just weird seeing him in like a generic black T-shirt.
Yeah, I know. But what if I ripped it off and I had a Saquon tattoo underneath?
That'd be crazy.
Well,
I don't. So yeah.
Instead, you just have my initials on you, but that's neither here nor there.
Christian would rip it off and say Saquon to Philly. It'd be like, I've had this tattoo since 2020.
Well, if we're doing that, this is the first I'm hearing of this. But at the same time, before we get into just Philly sports, can we just talk about the best team in college football and their quarterback, DJ? You out the door. He just sucks. I mean, he's awful. Yeah. Awful. And I'm loving seeing it.
It's so bad. It's just interesting to me. So here, from my perspective, when they got him, I was like, oh, that's not bad. We need the quarter. Well, I say we. I went to school there. Technically, I own part of that school. I paid tuition there. But
yeah, you can say we.
They got him. I was like, it's good. But when you think about it, really, this is a guy who lost his starting job at Clemson and played at Oregon State, who is now one of two teams still in the Pac-12.
Right.
And then then we already know the Pac-12 wasn't good last year. Like they had USC, Oregon, and you can say Washington, but like USC wasn't amazing, and you really only had Oregon and Washington in there. So how good was he really last year? I don't know. Apparently not that good, because we're seeing what he is like this year. There's one point in the first week where he had negative 0.1 air yards. So he's throwing all of them behind the line of scrimmage. And now some poor FSU guy has to eat dog crap out of a red Solo cup. So I don't know. I'm just glad it's not me.
That's what you get.
Yeah. No, I mean it's bad. I mean, I've seen a bunch of things saying it's the biggest fall off we've seen from quarterback to quarterback since we've seen from Trevor Lawrence to, ironically, DJ Uiagalelei or whatever his name is. Right. So this guy is not a great quarterback. I'm not going to sit here, and say the kid's garbage and trash on any guy in college still. But he sucks. You know what I mean? I mean, this guy's absolutely horrible. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on. I can just think right now of all of that NIL money that coach is just watching get pissed out the door to a guy who can only throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage.
I also want to point out that I called the Boston College upset. I told Christian
that. Did you call that Boston College upset in the group chat?
I said that Boston College was going to beat FSU. Obviously, big drop down from Jordan Travis, a Heisman hopeful last year before he tore his ACL. Total downgrade from a guy who not only was making plays with his legs, but was also making plays downfield, making the throws that he needed to, was very calm and collected in the pocket. But when you look at DJ Goo Goo Gaga, or whatever his last name is, when you look at him and the way that he panics in the pocket and the turnovers that he gets, it's backbreakers. I mean, there's also plays that you see. There's a touchdown play that they missed out on. Guy was wide open in the back corner of the end zone. He just threw it all the way out of bounds. I heard a bunch of chants during that game asking for the backup QB to come in. We'll see how long he lasts at FSU until that backup comes in.
Yeah.
And speaking of getting your backs blown out, I guess we can switch it to the UF game. Getting absolutely
we were just. This was the last thing we were talking about before we go into Philly sports. We didn't even talk about them. That's okay.
Fine.
We don't need
I'll
to talk
just
about that.
I'll just take the full blunt force of my alma mater getting
Yeah.
destroyed.
Yeah, there we go. See, we already know Napier's garbage. We don't need to talk about anything other than that.
Yeah, we already. Yeah, look, you know what I mean. We only had to talk about the worst team in Florida, not the second worst team in Florida. We're good.
Well,
The only
it's-
thing I'll say about that game is a bunch of UF recruits are about to go to Miami. That's all I'm saying.
say what you want, but FSU is the second best team in Ireland. So, what is it to say about that?
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
speaking of
hey, if
football-
we're, if, oh,
Third,
we're going to football,
don't forget about Ireland's Quidditch team. I mean, they went to the World Championship in Harry Potter.
You play any Quidditch? I know they just released a game on PlayStation.
All right, boys. So speaking of football, right? We got week 1 Eagles coming up in Brazil in what is it? 3 days now? 2
Mhm.
2 days now? No, yeah, 3 days. I was right. 3 days now. Did the math wrong. What do we got predictions here? What are we thinking?
So, first of all, before we start, Christian taking the lead here. Christian went through a transition right there. I've never seen Christian take the lead there in a transition.
I know.
So, new branding. I don't know what's happened. The black shirt. He just seems like he's in charge right now. I don't know what it is. I'm glad he wore all black because in post I can actually green screen something on his shirt. So that's gonna be fun. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. The offseason has been so good to Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as somebody who's going through a little FSU thing right now, who the offseason was supposed to be really good to them, obviously a little bit different to get the NFL level. Now, it's crazy. I see a lot of people saying the Eagles are going to underperform this year with the team that they have. I mean, you have a new OC, you have a new running back, you got a good wide receiver 3, and a lot of them are really harping on that offensive line with losing Jason Kelce, moving Cam Jurgens to the center. Now you have Becton, who's going to be the one starting at that guard position. Are you guys that worried about the offensive line play this year?
No, I'm not, and here's why, right? Number one thing we know, especially if you're a Philly fan, is that Jeff Stoutland is the best offensive line coach in football, right? And on top of that, Philly has had a top 5 line for how many years now, right? With how many different rotating pieces. Mekhi Becton was a guy who was taken 13th overall to play, you know what I mean? He was a first-round pick just 4 years ago to play left tackle for the Jets. And now he's going to position switch, and he's coming in to play the guard spot right next to Johnson. You know, it's going to be a little bit of a transition, but there were people out there battling for that spot with him. You know, Jack Stoll was out there. Or no, not Stoll. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, I forget. There was he won. I forget who won the battle over. He won the battle over someone. That's sad that I don't remember here. But he won the battle over someone. So Stoutland obviously has to trust in him. You know, and the biggest problem that was surrounding him when he came out of New York was his work ethic. That was the biggest issue. You know, in everything. He had the talent. He had what he needed to do. He just didn't have the work ethic there. And I think Stoutland has driven that into him, and he's giving him a chance to show him, you know, hey, are you ready to work or are you not? And we're going to find out. But right now, I think we're ready to rock with it. I think the team's going to be fine. The line's going to come out, and it's going to be top 5 potential like it's been every other year.
Yeah, I don't think the offensive line is anything to worry about. I mean, you think about all the years that we've had, you know, that offensive line, I've never seen any issues. Even the turnaround with playing, you know, second string or anything like that. You know, they learn it. They're all set. And I mean, for example, look at Mailata. Look what he did. I mean, the dude never played football in his life. Came over, took a few years, figured it out, and now he could arguably this year be a top 3 at his position. So I mean, I'm not worried about the offensive line. I'm worried about the chemistry of the team in general, because it's a whole new branding. Yes, you have a lot of your old pieces coming back, but you're also adding stars from other teams, and you have to be able to, you know, adapt to that team. And that's the biggest thing that I'm concerned about, is not being able to, you know, really work together as a team. But that's up to coaching. And this is, I'm telling you, Sirianni, this is his last year. This is his last year. If we don't, I'm telling you right now, if we don't go to the Super Bowl, he'll be out 100%. They put too much into this team.
I feel like Super Bowl isn't his out the door limit. I agree with you that if, you know, he has to make a certain mark or else he is out the door, because they gave him the benefit of the doubt this past year, firing both offensive and defensive coordinator and bringing in brand new ones and keeping Sirianni. I don't think it's Super Bowl or bust this year, because we didn't buy into one year deal on players. We didn't, you know what I mean? We don't have lone guys. We have players that are here.
I didn't say Super Bowl
yes, you
win. I
did.
said go to Super
well, you
go
said
to the
Super Bowl
Super
or bust.
Bowl.
I think it's
100%.
go to NFC Championship or bust. I think he's fired if he makes the NFC Championship. Sirianni is there again. Sirianni is 100% back in Philadelphia next year. If he goes anything short of that, if we lose in the divisional, if we lose in the wild card, if we don't make the playoffs, he's gone. He's 100% gone.
Mhm.
But I feel like you can't. I mean, you could, but I just feel like if they make it to the NFC Chip, like I feel like he's retaining his job. It's hard to fire a guy who took you just one step away to the bowl, and after a guy who's already taken you to a Super Bowl.
What do you think, Dylan?
So here's what I'm thinking, right? Like you say, you're talking about the offensive line. Another thing that you guys didn't talk about was the fact that it wasn't just Philadelphia that picked out Cam Jurgens. It was Jason Kelsey himself was scouting who his predecessor was going to be. And the fact is, Cam Jurgens played right guard last year, proved that he was a good blocker. And so now he's being moved over to that center position. And 100%, Cam Jurgens said it himself. He's not looking to replace Jason Kelsey. You can't replace a guy like Jason Kelsey. But like Philadelphia does, Philadelphia sports, it's that next man up mentality. You look back when Jason Peters, the year we won the Super Bowl, when Jason Peters tore his ACL, who came in and took over at that left tackle spot and played really well. It was Honolulu Manu Ginobili Vaitai, who came in and played really well in the Super Bowl. Nick Foles, who home opener is having a ceremony retiring with the Eagles, came in that year. Carson Wentz, MVP season, tears his ACL. Nick Foles comes in, savior of Philadelphia, wins the Super Bowl. Now, the fact is, I tried looking back at the team. We look at the people that we got, the new guy, Saquon Barkley, massive pickup. We got rid of Reddick, of course, but brought in Huff, younger guy who is really good. What I looked at was what were we missing last year and what we added this year, right? Last year, when you look at the pieces, there wasn't much missing. We had the pieces to win, except for one thing. And that one thing was energy. You saw it at the beginning of the year when we were winning. We had energy, but near the end of the year, it just died down. But now you bring in guys like Gardner Johnson, who brings that energy, brings that mentality. Bring in these rookies like Quinyon Mitchell to take the spot of James Bradbury, who was a liability on defense.
That was the best thing. That was the best thing that happened was him getting injured. And I'm sorry that I had to say that, but it's 100% the truth. He got burnt more than anybody else last year.
I wouldn't say it's a good thing though, because we could have used him as trade bait, gotten something out of him.
So that's what I was going to mention next. I feel like we're talking a lot about offense, but one of the big things is the defense was ranked number 28th and 29th in the NFL last year. A big drop off from the last several years where the Eagles defense has usually been up there. Now we're losing guys. Fletch is gone now, right? Obviously Bradbury is injured. Is that a big miss? Who knows? We are unproven is the only issue. We have Mitchell. We have Dejean, whatever, Dejean. We have him now. Again, unproven. We bring back Gardner Johnson. Okay, Blankenship needs to step up as well. And the big part is going to be middle linebacker. Unfortunately, we had one good season in middle linebacker in a while with TJ Edwards. We let him walk, didn't even offer him. So now we have Nakobe Dean, and we have Axman Jr. there at middle linebacker. So it's going to be interesting. And obviously, you mentioned Reddick is now gone, and we got Huff. And now Sweat and Huff seem to be the 1-2 punch there, with Brandon Graham being more of a little, what's the word I'm looking for, a teacher there. Little mentor.
You guys are forgetting, man. There's one guy that you just forget we drafted last year, Nolan Smith. Then you got Jalen Carter. These two, Jalen Carter was proven last year, but Nolan Smith, that dude looks good. And he's going to be, I think he's going to be more of an influence than you think to that defense.
I mean, yeah, the reality of it is they're all boom or bust guys coming in this year, right? I mean, they're all 1-2s, a couple third-year guys for the most part inside of that secondary and linebacker core. So we don't really know what we're going to get. We're asking a lot out of a lot of these guys, but at the end of the day, it's what you get when you come to Philly, right? And you're going to be asked a lot out of you, but if you hold up your end of the bargain, everybody's going to love you. So, it's all, we'll see what it comes out to. Hopefully, they're not banking on the offense just being able to score more points than the other offense the entirety of the games, like every game, because then we're screwed, right? But I feel like a lot of these young guys have a lot of potential, and we're going to see it this year on the field. And it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be the greatest thing. We're going to lose a couple of games because of the defense. But I feel like, in the tough times, they'll be able to come through. And another thing to remember about that, too, is, again, these are 1, 2, 3-year guys. So what we see from them this year is just the base of it, right? Coming around the next year is when everything else. So there's a lot of room for development, and there's a lot of room to just see what we have right now. And I think we have a lot of great guys back there.
But you also, guys, we added a veteran presence to the linebackers tour, too. Also, we got Devin White. That's a huge, huge add. He's going to be able to help these guys develop into what he was and still kind of is, but he's not as good as what he used to be. But I'm telling you, that veteran presence is going to be huge, helping these people learn their positions. I mean, I honestly feel like Fletcher Cox taught Jalen Carter, how to play that position, and he's just a freaking tank now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't you
have the one thing I was going to talk about as well, one thing that we didn't hit on was a lot of these analyzers, like people from ESPN. I forget the guy's name, the one that said Philadelphia is going to finish third in the division.
Nick Offerman, something like that. Nick Offerman's the guy from
Parks and Rec. But it's that guy, the guy that looks like Nicolas Cage's son or something like that.
He's not smart. He doesn't know.
A lot of the things that they're saying is going to add on to that, like why the Eagles are going to finish third, why the Eagles are going to underperform, is how they finished last year. But the fact of the matter is, the finish of last year doesn't mean anything. You look at the Eagles, the year that we won the Super Bowl, everybody thought that there was a chance we could have repeated. Carson Wentz was coming back. But guess what happened? The Eagles were a wild card team. A lot happens in an off season. And the fact that they're saying that the Eagles are going to underperform because of them collapsing last year, that you can't do that with the team. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I feel like the bad taste left in a lot of people's mouths is very reasonable. You know what I mean? Like it's understandable in my opinion. When you have a team that at one point was 10-1, a team that looked poised to 100% make a deep playoff run, go and lose the last 6 games of the season, like that. No matter what you do, because you didn't get rid of all the pieces that were technically in question, right? Hurts was a guy in question. Sirianni was a guy in question. Like, these were all guys who were technically on the hot seat at one point or another. And they hadn't cleaned house of it all, right? I don't want them to clean house of it all. I like Hurts. I like Sirianni. I believe Johnson had to go, and I believe our other defensive coordinator had to go. But we still have these pieces here for other people that were in question, for other people that blamed them for the reason and our woes of last year. And so for that, I can understand the bad taste that's left in people's mouth. Granted, no, third in the division, that's crazy. I think that's insane. I don't think there's no way in heck we finish lower than Washington or New York. I just don't believe that. It's obviously going to be a fight between us and Dallas. But I do understand the bad taste left in some people's mouths. I do believe it's warranted. I think as fans like us, we know, like, okay, we got it. We're good. We fixed the offensive defensive coordinator role. That was the biggest problem. But from the other people that aren't fans of Philly, from the outside looking in, they don't see that. You know what I mean? They still see the head coach and the quarterback, which is always the two biggest things when you're talking about an offense and a collapse.
So I guess the final thing I'll harp on if we want to talk about predictions and either for the season or for the game, whatever you want to do, is there's one man that we haven't really talked about. It's going to be Jalen Hurts. We saw him be the MVP frontrunner up until week 11, then kind of just collapsed there at the end of the season as well. He didn't look like himself. I mean, all season we can say he didn't look like himself from the previous season. So how much burden are we putting on Jalen Hurts, and how much are we expecting from Jalen Hurts this season?
I mean, if you're asking me personally, when I look at everything that's around him and I see that you brought in Kellen Moore to come in and design the plays, a guy who's a known offensive coordinator, a respected offensive coordinator, and an undoubtable top 10 offensive coordinator inside of the NFL right now. and you bring that in with Saquon Barkley in the backfield, an undoubtable top 10 running back. Both A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, both undoubtable top 10 and 15 wide receivers. Got Goddard, top 10. You know what I mean? Everywhere around the ball, top 10 guys. You know what I mean? You have probably the most developed and complete roster on the offensive side of the ball in the entire NFL. So I feel like, truthfully, for me, I would need to see a top 3 MVP season out of Hurts. I feel like that's what's all around him. That's what all the pieces are giving him. And if he falls anywhere short of that, then at that point, I feel like I'm going to have to start to learn or look to turn the finger to Hurts, because there's so many pieces, so many weapons, so much creativity that's inside of that offense. He has to be able to use it, and I think he will. I think he's in for a huge season, a possible MVP season. But I think he needs to be somewhere in around that top 3 in MVP. He has to have an MVP caliber season this year.
Also, you can't forget about Dotson being acquired from Washington either for his number 3 receiver, a great number 3 receiver. And it's the fact that you have to decide, like a number 1, like a CB1 is going to have difficulty guarding A.J. Brown. A CB2, you're not going to be able to guard Devontae Smith. But a third cornerback, CB3, maybe a nickel, maybe a linebacker, you're not going to be able to guard Dotson in that third. It's basically pick your poison. And like Christian said, Jalen Hurts is set up for success. It's up to him. One thing that he did a lot worse last year than he did the year we went to the Super Bowl, and I know you guys can attest to this, turnovers. This past year, Jalen Hurts turned the ball over a lot more than he did that Super Bowl year. And maybe the play calling had something to do with it. Maybe earlier downs wasn't setting him up to the point where he was forcing throws into spots where they shouldn't have been. But yeah, he's set up for success. It's up to him, though.
I don't think I agree. I mean, it's really in his hands, right? And I think you guys are missing the big thing here. He has all those pieces, but there's also something else that not every quarterback has, and that's the ability to run. And he's able to run too. So, like, you're going to have to keep a spy on him as well. And if you don't, he can beat you with his legs, or if you have that spy on him, you're going to have someone wide open at some point. I mean, there's just too much depth for him not to have success. And if he doesn't have success, you have to look other ways. I mean, you have to look at other spots there, because it all rides on him. And I think Jalen Hurts knows that. And I think based on like his mentality, I think he's going to actually overcome that. I think he's going to be, I mean, he very well could be the MVP with everything that he has. There's just no reason, like Christian said, that there should be, he shouldn't be in the top 3 minimum. And that's minimum, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, there's just too much there. With the top 3 offensive line too. Let's not forget about that. I mean, it's just too much there for him not to.
All right. So, do you want to do a prediction for the season or prediction for the game on Friday? What we thinking?
I have the full season.
I don't have a full season with the schedule. Like,
if you want to,
I can take over
games. We can spit them off. We can, if you spit out the games to us, we can say what we think here.
All right. So, y'all ready for this?
Right.
Here we go.
Oh no, they're ready for that.
All right. So, as we all know, NFL season opener this Friday in Brazil. I heard that Ryan Lochte is very excited. So we got Green Bay versus Philadelphia. Boys, I have Philadelphia taking this one. We took it the last time we faced Green Bay. We beat them. Now, Jordan Love, great quarterback, but I got Philadelphia in this one.
Yeah, I guess I'll go next. Yeah, I'll take Philly in it 31-28. I think it's going to be a close one. It's going to be a good one in Brazil.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be that close. I think we're going to be somewhere more along the lines of 34-28.
I think the green team's going to win. Just trying to figure out which one. No, I mean, there's just no, I think Green Bay had a good season last year. I don't think they follow that up again this year. And I really don't think it's going to be this close, because I think Philly has a very bad taste in their mouth. So I think they're going to win 38-24.
Dylan, what's week 2?
So week 2. Now I will say this: when I was looking at the schedule, Philadelphia has a very, very good looking schedule for them. They have a very beneficial schedule to where
Second place schedule.
that second place finish can really help them out.
They're
'Cause
a wild card team, so
week 2 is Falcons in Philadelphia. Kirk Cousins, fresh off of his
Kirko.
Achilles tear. Bijan Robinson, good running back. But I still think home opener, they're going to do it for Nick Foles. Philadelphia is going to take that one again, 2 wins in a row. I don't think the Falcons have the firepower to defeat Philly.
Do we
I
even
think-
have to discuss this one, guys? It's a primetime game against Kirk Cousins.
We brought him back to the front. I mean, I think the Falcons are going to be great. I think they'll win the division this year.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I do think that the Eagles are going to be the ones who win the game.
I kind of think both of you guys kind of discredited the Falcons there a little bit. The Falcons are going to be a decent team this year. They're not
Yeah,
going
they'll
to
be a playoff
they're
team.
not going to be a pushover team. They're going to be they're going to be a playoff team. But again, I do think Philly has the bigger firepower there, and I think we're going to be sitting there with Philadelphia win. So yeah, we'll put them at 2-0.
Yeah, I already said primetime game against Kirk Cousins. They're going to win.
Dylan, week 3.
Week 3, we have Philadelphia going to apparently Nick's favorite place on earth. His boy, Hurricane Katrina, went through there. Philly goes to New Orleans to the Superdome to face the Saints. And boys, I have the Eagles going 3-0. I don't think that Derek Carr, I don't think he is the level he used to be. And him being at quarterback, I don't think that Saints team has what it takes to beat this Philadelphia.
Yeah, I think the Eagles win this one. For me, that game is going to be what is the defensive line looking like for the Eagles, because you have a good 1-2 punch there with Williams and with Kamara, and Kamara is actually going to be playing this time, so it's going to be interesting. I just don't think Derek Carr is that good. Obviously, they lost Michael Thomas, they have Olave, but I think the Eagles win that one.
I think this is going to be the game where Philly really sets the tone for how their season is going to look. I think they're going to come into New Orleans, and I think it's really not going to be close. I think Philly's just going to absolutely spank them, to be 100% honest with you. And probably I think that's the game they could put up 40-plus points. I think that's the game an offense could really explode, and the defense holds them to under 21 points. I think that's just a game that it could really, really set the tone for Philadelphia. So I'm going to go 3-0 there as well.
Guys, you forgetting about the most versatile player in all of football plays for the Saints. And that's
Tight
Taysom
end
Hill.
in fantasy.
I mean, absolute beast. Will that be enough? I don't think so. I don't think Derek Carr's, that great. They don't really have that much offensive power. Defense is really what they're going to be going after. And in all honesty, if we keep our offense out there, we're just going to make them tired. And Christian, if that's the case, I think they're going to absolutely slaughter them too.
Week 4.
Week 4, boys. We have a rematch of that wild card round against the Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. I think the Eagles are going to be playing with a little bit more fire, a little bit more vengeance going into Tampa Bay. Not only is it the same team, it's the same field, same place, boys. I got Philadelphia picking this one. I think that defense is going to get at least 3 turnovers, whether it be fumbles, whether it be picks. I got the Eagles winning 4-0.
Yeah, this game, the revenge game. Really, regular season revenge games don't mean much to me, but this is going to be the game that says, hey, we've gotten better. Because the Buccaneers are the exact same team. They really didn't get much better during the offseason. They didn't get much worse. They kind of just re-signed everybody. Yeah, I mean, Devin White. Yeah, but I think he was like the backup.
Right, he was the second string.
So I think Eagles win that game. I'll be interested to see how the Buccaneers are playing up to that point in the season too.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat. I think it's a win, but I'm kind of with David. I mean, we saw it last year. Buccaneers came out strong, I believe, right? Because they were 3-0, I believe, to start the season last year, and we were 3-0 to start the season last year when we came out and we played them. And we won, but then obviously they came back and beat us in the wild card round. So I feel like it's going to be a little bit closer again than a lot of people are maybe thinking, but I think Philadelphia escapes with a win there as well. So that's 4-0, and then yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. It's not going to be close. I really don't think it's going to be that close. I think, again, bad taste in the mouth, the way they got their absolute ass handed to them in the playoffs last year. I think they're going to absolutely do the same exact thing to them in this game. And I think the Eagles are going to go 4-0.
Yep.
All right, week
All
5.
right. Week 5, boys. Back in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
I agree.
Back in Philadelphia, we got Cleveland and Philly. I got Philadelphia taking this one. I don't think Deshaun Watson has been playing well, even with the acquisition of Jerry Jeudy. I still don't see him playing like he used to be. So Philly's going to take this one.
Yeah, I won't start to explain it because we can explain it in the next scene. I'll just say Philly wins.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really a defensive battle inside of that game when it's going to be an offensive battle. So I think whoever holds them to the lower points. I think Cleveland has the better defense than Philadelphia does. Obviously, Cleveland has a way more established defense, but I think our offense will be able to do just enough to put us over the edge. So I'm going to go, Philly.
It's going to be close. But I think this is the time we get a little taste of our own medicine. I think we're going to actually lose this game. I think because Cleveland has a really good defense, and that's what scares me. Is it'll actually be a test to see what they can do. But I don't know right now. I just think that it's going to be one of those things that they just feel like they can win, and they're just not going to come and fire on all cylinders, and they're going to lose this game.
Yeah,
we won't give permission for that loss for sure.
All right. Is this week 6? Eagles in New York. I got the Eagles beating the Giants. Saquon's homecoming game.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take Philly on Saquon's homecoming game. You lost both of them last year. Bad taste in the mouth. You're gonna get them this year.
Giants still starting Daniel Jones. Give me the Eagles.
Yeah, it's definitely Eagles.
So we head on to week 7. Eagles still on the road, going to Cincinnati to play Joe Burrow and his Bengals. Now, this was a hard one for me. I had to think about it. But I'm going to take the Eagles in this one.
I think I'm going to steer from the Eagles in this one. This is going to be their first loss for me, in my opinion. I think on the road in Cincinnati, I think that's going to be an L.
It's going to be interesting. I don't know how the run game is going to be, but Joe Burrow is still Joe Burrow. It's going to be interesting to see the offensive line, defensive line is doing, because this could have been the Super Bowl a couple years ago. I'll take Philadelphia in this one.
So you two got them at undefeated so far. Nick, what do you got?
Yep, 7-0.
So I already told you they lose to the Browns the week before. I think that's a wake-up call, and I think they get the job done in Cincy. I think they win that game.
So we head on to the next game. Jacksonville comes back to Philadelphia. I believe that Philadelphia is going to win this one. Trevor Lawrence is not playing great. They didn't get as many weapons as they should have. I got Philadelphia taking it.
I hate them about to start off at 8-0, but I guess here we go. Yeah, I think Eagles take Jacksonville.
Yeah, I said, it's a schedule that benefits Philly.
I don't know what Jacksonville's schedule looks like. But depending on how Trevor Lawrence is playing, I think that's going to really be the game where a lot of reality comes to realize. Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback, but he is not worth what he just got paid, in my opinion.
No. I'm gonna take Philly also. You better hurry up. You got 3.5 minutes to be able to get them all out.
So the next week we got Eagles going to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Boys, this is where I have the Eagles losing their first game. They usually lose when they go away to Dallas, so I got Dallas taking that one.
Yeah, and that's going to be the first loss, too. I got Dallas in that one.
I got Dallas in that one as well.
I don't. I have the Eagles winning this one.
Okay.
All right. Next game, another divisional rival. We got the Commanders in Philadelphia. Jaden Daniels, I think it depends on how he plays. I got Philly taking that one, though, in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
I got Philly as well.
Yeah, I got Philly in that one.
Next week, we got Philly at Rams
Sorry, Nick.
in LA. Yeah, Philly at Rams in LA. They lost Aaron Donald. They're not going to be the same team. I got Philadelphia taking that one against the Rams.
We beat the Rams last year, albeit that's with Cooper Kupp there. It's our yearly Rams game for some reason. Man, give me the Rams. I think Rams will win this one too.
Yeah, I'm kind of stuck here, but I think I'm gonna go with the Rams as well. Yeah.
Yeah, if you didn't, cut me off, I was going to say we were going to lose to Washington. For some reason, we like to lose to Washington. And then we are going to beat the Rams. So,
Okay.
All right, week after that, Philly takes a little hop and skip to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. I have the Eagles losing this one to Baltimore.
I have Philly beating Baltimore after a loss to LA. I think they come back and beat Baltimore.
I guess I'm going to have the Eagles on a little mid-season skid here. I'll say another loss. It's going to be 3 in a row. No,
yeah,
not 3 in a row. I guess because they beat
In a
Washington.
row.
No. I think we're going to get the job done here because Lamar's not going to be playing. So we're going to win.
Next game, we got Carolina coming to Philadelphia.
When
Philadelphia is going to win that one,
Win.
When-
I think. Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
we are all in agreement. All right, week after that, we got Pittsburgh taking a little stroll over to Philadelphia. We got a Steagles matchup here.
Philly.
I got Philly. I think at this point, Justin Fields is going to be starting.
Yeah. Agreed.
Still no
but
offense
still,
there. I'm
yeah.
going to say Philly.
Yeah, I'm going to take Philly also.
All right, week after that, Eagles go to Washington. I got Philadelphia taking that one against the Commanders.
I got Philly losing that one against the Commanders.
I'll have Philly winning that one.
Philly's going to win that one.
All right, we got Cowboys coming to Philadelphia.
When
I got Philadelphia winning that one at home.
Winning that one.
I guess
Win.
Nick agreed. Yeah. All right, and then the last week, Giants at Eagles. Now I have the Giants winning this one. Now the only reason I have the Giants winning it is because I believe at this point Philadelphia
Same.
will already have the bye and they'll be resting the starters.
I think Philly wins that one. Though. I
Yeah.
think because I think at that point and with what I just went with, I think they'd be 13-4, and I think that's a pivotal game for them. So I think they need to win it.
Yeah, I think Philly probably needs to win that one too, so I'll have them winning that one.
All right, so that's fantastic there. Looks like we all somehow took 14 wins all around the board.
So yeah, that's good, I guess there. I mean, we all have 14 wins. It's better than me guessing only one loss last year. Honestly, I think that's still a high ceiling for the Eagles. They probably will drop a couple more games than that. But it'll be an interesting season. I'm excited for the first game. But yeah, we're going through a little bit more rebranding. We'll try to touch on more Philadelphia sports. I feel like that's our bread and butter. Also, a little less topics to talk on, a little less to go over than us trying to go over 2 or 3 hours of content in 30 minutes with other people's schedule.
I also feel like what we used to do was we would talk a little bit on the other teams, but when we would talk about Philadelphia teams, we'd get into deeper depth anyway because we're a little bit biased. So I feel like rebranding and just focusing on Philly sports will make it a lot more like enjoyable, a lot easier on us as well.
Also,
All right,
I don't think Christian dropped a single curse word in this entire episode.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be really easy editing for me. So I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Enjoy it for a while it's around.
Yeah, until the season starts and the first game's dropped, and he's sitting there cursing out every single person and their mother in the organization. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy. I'll get to editing, and at some point, I guess we'll pick a name. So
All right.
Yeah.
Later, boys.
see ya.
Deuces.